Shachi Kurl is the president of the Angus Reid Institute, a job that calls her to educate Canadians on a number of different issues. Today, she is here to help us understand Canada as a multicultural nation. Now, Shachi, in 1971, Prime Minister Trudeau announced multiculturalism as a policy. Do you think we still adhere to that policy, or is it more the spirit of the policy that exists today?
It's a complication because you do find that a significant number of Canadians will look to our multiculturalism and our inclusivity and those official practices and as net benefits. But at the same time, one constant and chronic thread you hear, whether someone is from a cultural, a multicultural background, or whether they're an immigrant or first generation or second generation, is that there is a desire to see perhaps a little bit more melting, which is more the approach of the United States, where of course it's a melting pot. Canada, in the early years of official multiculturalism, referred to itself as more of a mosaic, something more pixelated. But what we find now through polling that we do at the Angus Reid Institute is that you do see a desire really almost across the board for people to say, yes, we want Canadians to hold on to their cultural heritage. We want them to hold on to the cultural markers that they hold dear. But we also want, particularly around language, there is a desire among Canadians to see greater use of one or both official languages in this country, and a desire to see immigrants or newcomers to the country doing more to fit in. That's the language or the terminology used. So, we're always searching for a more perfect society. In this case, I think what we find is that Canadians are saying that while multiculturalism is overall a net benefit, they'd like to see more integration as well. I think that is something that has been fairly consistent over the years.
I find that fascinating, Shachi. So more assimilation, more cohesiveness, as opposed to this individualized society, which I find interesting. Now, you believe that immigrants and refugees are essential to Canada. Tell me why.
Well, Canadians believe that. So again, in terms of the data that we find, Canadians believe that immigration is overall something that's required and needed. And let's face it, we don't have enough babies in this country to fill the jobs that are going to need to be filled in 15 or 20 or 30 or 40 years. So immigration, unless we become more like Japan and just embark on full mechanization of everything and robotization of everything, Canada needs immigrants in order to keep our society running the way we like it running. Immigration is something that, from an economic point of view, is necessary. But again, the data show that there is quite a bit of a misunderstanding around who's coming into the country, where they're coming from, and why they're coming. So we did a pretty comprehensive study on immigration in 2019, not too long ago, that found Canadians vastly overestimate the number of immigrants coming into the country from being from the Middle East. That's a direct, I think, interpretation or correlation to the number of landings they saw from Syrian refugees on the 6 o'clock news every night for a while in 2015 and 2016. In fact, most immigrants to the country are coming from places like China, India, the Philippines, the United States, South America. I think another common misperception is that Canadians believe that most people coming into the country as immigrants are coming from that refugee class or family reunification class. In fact, we have one of the strictest immigration systems in the Western world. Most of our immigrants are coming in educated, qualified to work, ready to work, and they have good job outcomes as a result. A lot of foreign students who come to the country have a pathway to immigration. Again, they have a level of qualification. I don't know that that's something that most Canadians actually know about or realize. So I think communication around who comes, why they come,
Yeah.
is a big part of whether people understand or support immigration in general, and then the societal impacts such as multiculturalism that come with it.
Okay, thank you so much, Shachi Kurl from the Angus Reid Institute. Thank you so much for joining us today.